Hello, I'm Fisky, and I'm teaming up today with Team Salvato to share my story for Mental Health Awareness Month. This is my story, or as we say in Germany, das ist meine Geschichte. How did I get first into video games and anime manga? Well, I stumbled upon it when I was a very, very small cat boy. I got connected to animes like Neon Genesis Evangelion, Pokemon, Digimon. I was drawn to the aesthetics that lead me quite down the rabbit hole to cosplaying, streaming, VTubing. Thanks to anime and anime culture and all the great people that I met along this journey that became my friends. The aspect of anime culture and nerd gaming culture helped me to find friends, to find a social belonging where people accepted me for who I am and how I wanted to be like. In school, I had a very hard time connecting to others. I was more the timid kid, shy kid, and maybe a bit quirky to the anime community. I found people who accepted that, who accepted me for example, being a boy who likes cute stuff. And of course, that's also bisexual. Even though I did have a difficult time getting this kind of acceptance in school, in my normal life, within the anime and gaming subculture, I found enough people who just accepted me for who I was and even supported me in being this way, which gave me a lot of confidence, a lot of self-awareness, and most of all, that I was actually able to start liking myself and be content with who I am. I feel most like myself when I can cosplay and dress up in cute outfits, when I can collect cute images of cute anime characters and stroll through artist alleys, and of course also when I'm online as a VTuber, as Fisky, because at that point I can just embrace being a cute anime cat boy and meeting so many other people who share this interest, share this passion for this kind of aesthetics. And even though that might be a bit uncommon over here in Germany, where everything usually needs to be cool or I don't know, sexy or pretty straightforward, I can just be cute in this realm, and I truly enjoy that. Fan arts are a big thing for me because it shows the perspective others have of me and what they maybe like about me, about my character, about my personality, and what I stand for. Being here as a catboy VTuber, it feels like I can turn my insight directly on screen without any borders left. I can just be who I am and who I want to be and how I want to look like. This is pretty precious. Technology is kind of awesome. We live in a great time when it comes to that. I'm a person that likes to connect people, not just myself with others, but I really truly enjoy watching people mingle and form friends among each other, which is of course happening at conventions, which is why I engage in conventions. I really enjoy meeting like-minded people and finding friends for life this way. But it also goes down to streaming, to VTubing. I want this to be a platform where people who share my interests and my passion for certain aesthetics, and manga aesthetics, for example, and want to find others who share the same interests. This is actually a very core component to my activities as a VTuber. I just like to see communities unfold and join and come together, and this works best on basis and a foundation of similar interests, how people want to be and want to portray themselves. This is a lot more easier nowadays. I think internet culture and also gaming culture and the different kinds of communities that unfolded within gave us the opportunity to embrace very different aspects of our personality and what we like, and share it with others and find similar like-minded people who give each other the confidence to be able to be who they want to be. I genuinely feel we are quite lucky and happy to live in a time where this is actually possible. I really appreciate that. Before I started VTubing, I did stream before, and I truly enjoyed the process, but I always viewed it as something that's mostly about yourself or about a channel or whatever. Nowadays, I think streaming communities are actually a lot more than that. Basically, what a streamer provides nowadays is a platform, a place where people who share a different interest or same interest from different backgrounds though can mingle. If people like a certain game or certain characters or a certain topic, they can come together in a stream and actually form a community, and that goes way beyond what the actual streamer does. I would have never expected this to happen in a platform like Twitch or YouTube, for example. We now have Discord servers where you can just hang out in chat channels, in voice chats, basically all the time. This is kind of amazing because you never feel alone this way. Over the past 2 years, we had lots of instances and times where we had to feel alone, and I have a feeling this at least was eased by being able to hang out with other people in voice channels, being able to not just call someone, but actually just have people around you, even if you are alone at home. So I am honestly grateful that these kind of tools exist, and they definitely help me to stay connected, even over far distances with friends, of course, all over from Germany, but also far beyond that. You might not be able to see each other all the time, but nowadays you can connect to each other over long distances with a blink of a second. That's really helpful and really amazing. The routine activity that helps with mental health and self-care. Well, I did try meditating. I should have been more successful at that or more consistent, because it does help. It sounds cliche, I know, but meditating does help. Another thing I really like to do is reading books, even if those are maybe cheesy motivational books. Doesn't matter. And even the most shallow book can give you something of value that you can pull out from it. And hence, reading is something I truly encourage, because it leads to self-reflection, and self-reflection leads to a form of personal growth and, well, questioning yourself: who do I want to be? Who am I right now? And to reevaluate my goals, long-term and short-term, because it helped me drawing a red string through all of my life. And there's nothing more fulfilling than actually looking back at something you've written down 2 years ago, 5 years ago, and it was some kind of goal, something that you wanted to achieve back then, and that you have achieved in the meantime. Maybe you didn't even really notice it at this point, but if you look back and see, oh my god, wait, I wanted to do that, but I'm already doing it right now. This is extremely fulfilling, and it gives you a huge sense of gratification, definitely. A lesson that I've learned on my mental health journey is maybe sometimes take a step back when it comes to social media. Social media can be very fun and a lovely experience, but it can also be draining and not always be in the most positive regards. So please always take it with a grain of salt and precaution, because we are getting connected very, very closely with each other through social media. So being able to also distance yourself from it from time to time is a very valuable lesson I've learned in the past years on my journey. If you are outside of your everyday zone, where you might have certain habits and are kind of confined to certain structures and procedures, being in a very different situation and in a very different place helps you break those habits and actually reflect, wait, is that healthy what I'm doing here? Is that something I want to continue? Actually traveling, it doesn't even have to be far. It could be just to another city, just to get out of your normal zone. It's really, really helpful in my opinion, especially if you combine it with a good book that helps reflecting on yourself and who you are right now and who you want to be. I actually draw a lot of motivation out of my long-term goals. Having something to cling on, especially in daring times, helps me to prioritize, but also to have some guidance in my life, because life can be very troublesome sometimes and very chaotic at times. It's not something that you can plan perfectly, but having a certain set of goals, especially long-term goals, at least helps me navigate through the sometimes stormy seas that life throws at you. If I struggle to find motivation, I always think back on what my actions has caused in positive ways, because you're always having an impact on other people's life with whatever you do. If you just go out buying groceries, you're having an impact. I saw in my community couples form and people finding new friends that they didn't know before. And I saw people that found others who were able to take care of their shyness a bit, so they got more open about themselves and maybe gain a little bit of confidence that they didn't have before. That is really, really awesome to see. And not every single action you do might have such an impact, but looking back at those who did maybe helps you to also find motivation for your next steps and a guidance on what you actually want to provide with whatever you do, whatever your passion is about, and whatever you feel is important to you.